50 pounds. Yes, I have officially hit the 50-pound mark on my GLP-1 journey. In today's video, girl, buckle up. I'm giving you the good, the bad, and the ugly about my GLP-1 journey. Do not let anyone make you feel guilty for what you choose to do so that you can live a better, healthier life. I just had a revelation one day and I said, I'm tired of carrying this extra weight around. I have been big all of my life. To be frank, to be transparent, in my 5th grade class photo, I stood out. Diabetes is hereditary in my family. For years, as a little girl, I would see how it affected members of my family by losing their limbs, losing their eyesight, or even passing away from complications of high blood pressure and untreated diabetes. I knew that that was not the life that I wanted for myself, so I talked to my doctor about using a GLP-1 medication. With my doctor's approval and submission of what's called a prior authorization to my insurance company, I was approved for a GLP-1 called Mounjaro. I started my Mounjaro journey in March, as I stated earlier, on the 2.5 milligram dose. As of today, I'm filming this video in October 2025. I'm actually on the 10 milligram dose, and I have noticed a significant change in the way my body responds to the medication. Initially, when I started, I did as much research as I could online from factual Facebook groups and groups that could offer insight into the types of meals that they were preparing for themselves or any type of complications that I perhaps might experience from being on a GLP-1 medication. Getting my insurance to approve my GLP-1 medication was not an easy feat. When my doctor initially submitted it, she had recommended a different medication for me. Still a GLP-1, but a different medication that was primarily marketed for weight loss. My insurance said no, a prior authorization was needed. However, I could have the Mounjaro. I said, okay, that's fine. Talked to my doctor. She submitted the prior authorization for the Mounjaro, and that's the medication that I use. I started on the smallest dose, which is 2.5. I actually picked mine up from a local pharmacy. I know that there are a number of telehealth companies and online pharmacies that offer GLP-1 medication. I cannot speak about that experience because that is not my experience. I physically see my doctor every few months for redoing my lab work and ensuring that my A1C is managing well. Now, I paid $25 at the time of this video, October 2025. I paid $25 per month for my GLP-1 medication. I am commercially insured. I also have type 2 diabetes. This qualifies me for the drug maker's discount savings program. You should look into this resource if you meet the qualifications for a discount card. I know that there are also different programs out there like Moki Health or even Roe, which I think Serena Williams just partnered with, and they also offer GLP-1 medications. However, I am under the care of my primary care doctor, so that's the route that works best for me. Now, I always have access to my medication. I have not encountered anything yet where I have not been able to obtain my medication. I get a box of 4 vials per month, and this is not the compounded version. This is just the GLP-1 medication. Often the other pharmacies or telehealth companies will offer a compounded version in which I believe you have to mix these things yourself. I'm just not familiar with that process, so I'm speaking from taking the GLP-1 medication straight from the drug manufacturer. I'm not discouraging anyone from utilizing a telehealth service or a virtual service or even just purchasing the medication from, I think Costco now sells it, right? But I will say that you need to be on top of your numbers. Now, when I initially started my GLP-1 journey in March 2025, I was injecting the medication around my navel area as suggested. There are about 3 injection sites that you could use around your navel area, on your inner thigh, or even underneath your arms. Now, I have seen the most appetite suppression from injecting the medication in my arms, using my left arm and then alternating to the right arm on a week-by-week basis. This might be different for you. No 2 GLP-1 journeys are the same. Do not let anyone make you feel guilty for what you choose to do so that you can live a better, healthier life. Now let's talk about changes that I've had to make in order for my GLP-1 medication to work. I had to give up a lot of the things that I used to eat, such as eating something sweet after every meal. I had to give that up. That was doing nothing but working against the medication and defeats the purpose of taking the medication, right? Another thing I had to do was cut back off of those starches because they digest like sugar. So cutting back on my rice intake. Y'all know I'm from Charleston. I'm a Geechee girl. And we eat rice with every single meal. It's either rice or grits. I had to cut that back. I had to cut back. I don't eliminate it completely from my diet because I don't believe in starving myself of it. But I will put less of it on my plate. In addition, I had to ensure that I was taking the right vitamins and nutrients that I needed to in order to hit my fiber and my protein goals. I have a goal of about 80 to 100 grams of protein per day. So I also use my Ninja blender, which I will link in the description, to create protein smoothies. I've got a recipe up on my TikTok. I'll link in the description as well. I have had to make a number of changes in my life and especially mindset shifts to enhance the effectiveness of my GLP-1 medication. The first thing I had to do was realize that my body was going to change, but I should love it at every step of the way. 50 pounds ago, I was heavier. I could see it in my face. I could see it in my shoulders. I could even see it in my waist area. However, it's important for me to realize that I am worthy now. I am worthy of living a joy-filled and a fulfilling life in this very moment. It really changed the way that I saw my body. I now see my body as we are in partnership with one another. It's not my mind versus my body. It's more so of us working together so that I can live a well-rounded and a healthy life. The thing about the GLP-1 is that the medication does not work unless you do. It will not do all of the work for you. I see a number of complaints online about how, they're comparing their GLP-1 journey to someone else. No two GLP-1 journeys are the same. My weight loss has been slow and steady, which is fine for me. I have heard of some instances where people are losing weight incredibly fast, and this leads to them losing too much muscle because you want to balance out losing muscle and losing fat. I've also heard stories of people losing things like their eyesight, or maybe their eyesight has changed, as well as people actually losing their hair because they're not meeting their protein goals. It's important for you to collect data on your GLP-1 journey. At this very moment, I can tell you how much weight I lost ever since I started this medication because I track that weekly using the Notes app on my phone. Again, you have to manage the data, collect the data, track the data, because you need data for your GLP-1 journey. It's not just something that you take once a week and then you just forget about it and then you take it the next week and you're like, oh, I'm just going to eat whatever. I'm just going to do whatever. You have to be serious and you have to be intentional about starting your GLP-1 journey because the medication does not work unless you do. For the past 7 months that I have been on my GLP-1 journey, I have worked out more consistently. I have drunk a lot more water than I ever used to. And y'all know I keep a Stanley with me. Typically, I'm drinking 2 to 3 Stanleys full of water per day. I've now increased that to about 3 to 4 Stanleys full of water per day. I've definitely had to increase my hydration because if you do not maintain your hydration on this medication, you will be constipated. Don't ask me how I know. That's my business. That's the ugly part that most people will not share with you. If you do not properly hydrate yourself on this medication, yes, girl, you will be constipated. There's just no way around it. You have to ensure that you are hydrating yourself. Highly recommend investing in a Stanley or a leak-proof cup that is easy to carry so that you always have your water with you. As a matter of fact, what I do to remind myself to drink water is that every time I look at the clock and the number ends in 5, I drink water. Every single time the number ends in 5, I take a sip of water. On your GLP-1 journey, you are going to hear some negativity. This might come from family, friends, the internet. And let me tell you, the only person whose opinion matters is the person that looks at you in the mirror. Your opinion is the only one that matters. Don't let anybody make you feel ashamed for your method of choosing to lose weight. You are doing whatever it is you need to do for your health. No one else is living inside of your body but you. I refuse to let society or anyone else for that matter make me feel like I'm taking an easy way out by taking a GLP-1 medication. This GLP-1 journey is not easy by any means. It is actually the hardest thing that I have ever had to commit to in my life, because the medication does not work unless I do. There's no point in taking the medication if you aren't ready to adopt the right mind shifts and adopt the right habits and routines to improve the medication's effectiveness. Now, let me talk about some of the supplements that I take on my GLP-1 journey. I take a collagen for hair, skin, and nail health. I take a multivitamin. I also take vitamin D3, vitamin B12, and I invested in buying a large tub of Orgain plant-based protein powder. I tried a few other ones on the market before I finally found one that I loved. I love the way that the Orgain blends well into my smoothies, and it does not have like a gritty aftertaste to it. So I found success with that one. But you have to know what your goals are. What are your weight loss goals? At what point, what weight will you get to and you will feel satisfied? What are your fiber goals? What are your protein goals? You have to keep these things in mind because you should be tracking this as well. My doctor told me that her goal for me was to get at least 80 to 100 grams of protein every day. So on days when I'm not eating as much, I'll be sure to make a protein-packed smoothie utilizing that Orgain powder that I just talked about, putting peanut butter in there, putting fiber in there through frozen fruits and berries, as well as anything else I need to ensure that I'm meeting that protein and that fiber goal. Another vitamin that I don't see most people talk about is that for my digestion issues that might occur, which is just a side effect of the GLP-1 medication, I actually take a ginger root pill. Now, my people, let me tell you, typically we would drink ginger ale for this, right? But I literally cannot handle the amount of sugar in ginger ale. So I take a ginger root pill. This helps with my digestion. You should work in partnership with your GLP-1. This medication will not put the work in unless you do. How do you do that? You have got to make sure that you are hydrating yourself, that you're taking your vitamins and your supplements. And lastly, you have to make sure that you are moving your body with intention. When you are on this medication, it is so easy to get lazy and think that, oh, I have the medication, it'll work itself out. No, girl, you got to get in that gym. I use the Peloton app for my workouts because I need structure in the gym, and oftentimes it will come with instruction on how to format my body this way, how to, shape my body this way in order to lift this weight or do this particular type of exercise. I found that that works for me. At this point on my GLP-1 journey, I am averaging about 3 workouts per week, about 35 to 45 minutes each. However, I do see that increasing in 2026 when I hire a personal trainer. Let's talk about some of the side effects of the GLP-1 medication. Keep in mind that no two people are going to experience the same side effects. The biggest side effect that I experienced was constipation. This might be a little TMI, but if you're watching this video and you're this far in the video, this means you are seriously considering a GLP-1 medication. Let me tell you, get yourself a really good water bottle that you can keep with you at all times because it is so important for you to hydrate yourself on this medication. Hydration, hydration, hydration. Girl, listen, do not miss the mark when it comes to hydrating yourself on a GLP-1 medication. If you constantly fail to hydrate yourself, you will suffer from constipation. Another side effect I have was that it did affect some of my hormones. So my cycle did change a little bit. And then I also experienced some side effects with my skin breakouts. I would say that's the most annoying thing ever. I'm really particular about my skincare and about my makeup routines. And so I'm having to incorporate new skincare products into my routines to combat the effects of the GLP-1. But I still love that to say it's nothing a little makeup can't hide. It's nothing just a little tender loving care to my skin cannot fix. Most importantly, I am living in a healthier body because of the GLP-1 medication. Thank you for tuning in to today's video about my GLP-1 journey. Again, I am down 50 pounds in 7 months on a GLP-1 medication. Your journey is not going to look like mine. The point of this video is not to give medical advice. I am not a doctor by any means. However, I wanted to share my experience with you in hopes that it will encourage you to make the best decision for yourself. If you have any particular questions about something that I mentioned in the video, you can always shoot me a DM on Instagram at Janitha Danielle, and be sure to hit the like button, subscribe button, and share this video with a friend that may also be considering their GLP-1 journey.